Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Irene, for the chance to be here this evening. In Kenya, it is evening, but a good morning to all of you. A good afternoon, a good evening. It's good to see you. Most of you I'm seeing for the first time, but I feel blessed to be here today. I would like to start with this small phrase. As the Lord keeps and sustains us, so we must keep and sustain our Lord's creation. I think that has been my motivation this day. So my name is Dennis Nthenge. I am a priest with the Anglican Church of Kenya, serving in Nairobi, and by the grace of God, serving as the chaplain to the Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Kenya, who sends his greetings to all of you this evening, morning, and afternoon, wherever you are. So I'll go straight to it. I'll be looking at tree growing, and thank you for the organizers for ensuring that the topic is tree growing and not tree planting. The Green Anglican movement is very specific that we grow our trees, we do not plant them, just to make emphasis of taking care of what we put on the ground. Just like any baby, they need nurturing, and that's our greatest joy.
Reverend Dennis, kindly remember, yes, for the recording and all the other speakers. I didn't want to interpret Reverend Andrew.
It's all right. It's all right. Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much. Yeah, so it is tree growing for us. And when it did start, it was launched back in 2018. And as you can see, there are some very funny looking faces. That's a very good friend of mine, who we launched together with back in the year of 2018. And the year 2019, the government came and published this statement that Kenya has a forest cover of 7.4%, 3.6% short of the constitutional accepted 10% forest cover. And just like that, the church took up the challenge of joining the government in adding up the tree coverage to 10%. So we went into communal forests where we planted trees in the public spaces and in the community forest and in church land. And also we encourage private members and individuals to start their own little forest in their own spaces. So the campaign towards the 10% forest cover kicked off in the year 2019. So far, we have done about 3 million trees, and we are hoping by the year 2026, we shall have planted and grown 15 million trees. This is in line with the decade strategy that the Archbishop is guided by in the Anglican Church of Kenya. This past 10 years, or rather 7 years going now to the remaining years, he has had this imagination and idea that the church should look at its growth holistically so that we can also influence the nation holistically. So in the year 2026, we shall be celebrating wholesome ecology. So the idea by the committee that takes care of the Green Anglican movement decided that they don't want to get to 2026 and start planting and growing and doing all things that are necessary. They say that year 2026 is a year of celebration. And so they started planting their trees immediately together with other actions. And of course, we were not working alone. We decided to work together with the state cooperatives, the government officials. As you can see there, those are priests serving with different churches, and those are officers of the Kenya Forestry Services. And with them, we have signed MOUs that have been of great help to us. We have gotten training from experts in the Kenya Forestry Services. They have given us guidance to where we plant our trees and even what to do with the trees that we have already planted. So from the MOUs, we started a new relationship where we started adopting tree areas for us to plant trees. The adopted areas were supposed to be adopted for 3 years. That was enough time to nurture a tree to a position that nothing in the force of nature will bring it down. And so with a small team, we started some few places here and there, and we have managed to adapt some very good spaces, very clean areas where monkeys and baboons get to play. And also we have improved such spaces in terms of the air cleanliness and all that, and even given some job opportunities to the locals of that area. So it is a communal thing where everybody comes on board. These are the Kenya Anglican Men Association working with the priests, carrying trees to a site where we would go planting such trees. And this is a site where we have 3-year-old adopted trees just after we had finished and gave them back to the Kenya Forestry Services. So we just don't give them back, but we also go back to enjoy the spaces that we plant these trees. As you can see, they create paths where we can come and ride our bicycles and have family time with our friends and families. So apart from the public land which the government gives us, we also get to plant trees in our own church land. This is one of our pieces of land that is almost 90 kilometers away from the city, where the Archbishop took his priests from his diocese to go and plant trees so that we can change that environment. And indeed, we have gotten some really good feedback out of it. So everybody's involved, the young people, the youth, as you can see, they are enjoying the community. Everybody is out, and of course, our Archbishop is at the front. The mothers are on board, the fathers are on board, and we feel that it is our thing. As you can see, nobody is left out. Even those who are graduating with their gowns, they are also encouraged to plant at least a tree to remember that particular day. Even the young ones in schools. This is a particular school that I was a chaplain to, who we went into the forest and adopted a space. And I'm glad to report that they are happy to go back and weed and ensure that their spaces are clean. So these are the children in the school who say that they don't only want to plant the trees in the forest, but they also want to see these trees planted in their home. So they requested us to bring trees, and these trees they distributed to their parents, their neighbors, and they got to have something that Wangari Maathai used to tell us, that if we cannot live in the forest, let us at least plant trees and around our homes and invite the forest to live with us. And that has always been a motivation. So this is a private owned land where somebody has planted these trees, and maybe in the near future, he will be harvesting and planting more. But what we are trying to tell them is, let us not over-rely on what people planted for us in the past. Let us plant. If we need this fuel or other firewood from fuel from the firewood, we need to plant our own trees. We need to plant our own sources. And that is very encouraging for us. So where are we getting these seedlings? We are getting the seedlings from churches, from private tree nurseries, and from government tree nurseries. Most of what we give as a church are fruit trees so that we can enhance food security and also help even the animals that get to travel from region to region looking for something to eat, like the monkeys and the baboons. We have had a lot of migration of such from areas where they do not get enough to eat. So the Archbishop is also encouraging the church to also take up modern stoves that reduce the amount of firewood that is used in cooking, so that we can reduce the amount of firewood that we cut down. The number of hours that we use in cutting down and going to look for firewood is something that is of great a nuisance to many of our mothers out there. But we are trying to help them by coming up with innovative ways and alternative means of living. So as I mentioned, the bishops are at the front, the pastors are at the front. The bishops, we call them the ambassadors, the pastors, the archdeacons, and the parish ministers, we call them the champions, and the chaplains in the Green Forest, in the Green Anglicans movement. So where do we get to encourage, teach? We have our platform in the church that is on the pulpit and outside the pulpit. So on the pulpit, we have things like confirmation. These are young children who have just been prayed for, have been confirmed, but the Archbishop always brings them together at the end, together with their trees, have them hold each tree that they have come with in the church, and reminds us that this is the perfect example of what God expects us to live with the non-creation, that we should live in unity and in harmony and support each other, because we have a role in supporting and caring for God's creation. So baptism is another place where we'll get to plant trees. Baby dedication, we get to plant trees. In church consecration, blessings of homes, birthday trees. I used to, when I went to All Saints Cathedral as a teens minister, I found my teenagers enjoying a cake every month of the children who had celebrated their birthday. But we decided to change that behavior. And instead of eating cake, we started planting trees. They were a little bit unhappy at first, but moving forward, they kind of enjoyed the fact that they can actually go out and plant a tree with a friend after church, or even during the week. So apart from that, we also do memorial trees of those who have departed, our beloved. We put down a tree either close to where they lay, or even in our own homes, or whichever place where the family feels will be of significance to them. So the church has embraced the Green Anglican movement. I can say we are truly green, and the young people are actually living it. And we normally have this slogan that you cannot protect that which you do not enjoy. So we get to encourage them to go out and enjoy what is out there in the wilderness, so that they can see that indeed they have a reason to protect it for the future generation. And because we lead by example, this is the Green Anglican Committee. We hold our meetings in the outside. We get a lot of inspiration when we do them out there. We also get to remind ourselves that indeed we have to take care of what God has created. And apart from that, it's also fun and different, and also rejuvenates us after a heavy day in the office. When we come to this space, it's like we are all born again, and we look at issues in a very different perspective. So that will be my presentation today. God bless.